Wow, that was just so beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful piece of music. Thank you so much. I'm just looking for a slide on the screen here. Have you ever had your eyesight checked? I'm quite sure most of us have, right? Probably even as children, we go to have our eyesight checked. It's important for us to see clearly, right? So we go to the optician, and I'm so lucky as to have a friend here who's an optician, and she's going to help me. So if you can come here, Michelle, let me just tell me a little bit about how you can get your eyesight checked. So I'm going to sit here and go through like a quick eyesight check, and of course we can't do the whole thing because we don't have time for this. So when you go to the optician, they put these like nice glasses on you. Okay, we're gonna try this. And if we get the next slide, we're gonna see if I can see better on some letters here. Let me see. Oh, that's far away. It's very far away. Do you normally have the slides or the screen so far away? 6 meters, okay. So if you can make me see well at this distance, then it's very good.
Okay, so I will ask you a question if it's better now in 1 or in number 2.
Okay, let's see.
So is it best now in number 1 or now in number 2?
1, I think, yeah.
Okay. Then I will do this. Okay.
Oh.
Oh. Not very good. No. Okay, then we have to do some adjustments.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Is it best now in number 1?
Okay.
Or in number 2?
And number 1, I think.
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah.
Good.
But it's still not like completely clearly, so I think we need to work a little more.
Okay. What about now? Was it good now?
It's better.
It's better?
A little bit better.
I thought it was good now. Okay. 1 more.
Let's see.
What about this one?
Wow. That's good. Like, that's really good.
Okay, then we go for that one.
Thank you.
No, we have
okay,
to
even more? Okay.
No, we have to put in this final lens.
All right. Wow. I can see so well now. Oh, there are lots of people here today. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for making me see a lot more clearly. Yeah, so let's give an applause to Michelle. Who's the best optician, by the way. Just doing a little commercial for her today. So, of course, we don't want to see blurry, do we? We want to see clearly. It's important for us to see clearly. And I got glasses at the age of 8 years old. Right now, I don't use glasses because I had contact lenses. Otherwise, I wouldn't see as clearly as I do right now. But I got glasses at the age of 8 years old. And throughout the years, I went through several pairs of glasses, probably because I also wasn't always very careful with my glasses, and so they broke at times. So I needed new pairs from time to time. And this one time, my glasses had broken, and I think I went without glasses for a few days, and it wasn't very pleasant. It wasn't very nice. I couldn't see very well. And I had ordered some new glasses that my mom was about to pick up. This was just before Christmas, and my mom needed to pick them up because I was sick. So I was laying on the couch at home, and I had this terrible headache, and I probably had a fever too, and I took a nap while she was picking up my glasses. And when I woke up from my nap, my mom had come back home, and she presented to me this beautiful case with new glasses, and I opened it up, and I put the glasses on. And it was like, wow, everything was just so beautiful. I could see so clearly. And this was just before Christmas, so we had all the Christmas decorations up, we had the Christmas tree, and it was just, all the colors were so bright and clear, and everything was just so, so beautiful. And I was like, wow, this is and feels amazing. Now, there's a story in the Bible about the blind man. And Jesus and his disciples, they met this blind man at Bethesda. And the disciples had witnessed Jesus' miracles before. So they were used to, Jesus meeting someone who had a sickness or who had a disability or who had some kind of challenge and wanting to heal that person. And so when Jesus healed someone, he would perhaps lay his hands on them, or maybe he would pray for them, or sometimes he would just say a few words such as, stand up and walk. And they would be instantly healed. But that's not what happens in this story. And actually, this healing that Jesus is about to perform is so strange. It's so different from all the other types of healings that Jesus did before and after. First of all, it was strange because it was disgusting. So what Jesus does is that he spits on the man's eyes. Actually, Jesus spits directly on his eyes. At least in our culture, that's not very, very normal. But that's what Jesus does. He spits on his eyes, and then he lays his hands on the man's eyes, and he asks, do you see anything? Do you see anything? And this man is like squinting, and he's saying, well, I see people because I can see something looking like trees walking around. So we realized that, okay, it's blurry to this person. He can see better because he used to be completely blind, but he can't see completely clearly. And so what Jesus does then is that he lays his hands on the man's eyes for the second time. And then the man's eyesight is completely restored. He can finally see completely clearly. And this story is so strange because, and I think it was strange to the disciples as well as to us, because why wasn't this man healed instantly? Is it like Jesus' miracle doesn't work the first time? It's like, ouch, I didn't use the right formula. I didn't, say the right words. Oh, let me try again. Is that how Jesus works? Isn't his miraculous powers powerful enough? It's strange, right? Why on earth isn't this man healed instantly? I think that when we read the Bible, we often pick a verse here, a verse there, it's nice, sounds good, a little story here, a little story there. But it's so important to get the fuller picture. It's so important to read the whole sections, to read what comes before and what comes after. And if we continue reading, after this story, if we continue reading the next few verses, we read that Jesus and his disciples then went on to Caesarea Philippi. And on their way there, Jesus and his disciples have a conversation, and Jesus asks them, who do people say that I am? Like, when you meet people, you talk to them, who do they say that I am? Who do they think I am? And so his disciples answer Jesus. They say, well, some say you're John the Baptist, some say you're Elijah, others say one of the prophets. And then Jesus asks them, well, who do you say that I am? Who do you say that I am? And then Peter answers, you are the Messiah. Peter and the disciples, they knew who Jesus was. They knew that he was the Messiah. He was the Son of God. He was the anointed one, the Son of the living God. He was the Messiah. And they knew that because they had walked with him, they had talked with him, they followed him wherever he went. They knew who he was. And this is where these two stories connect. the story of the blind man and the story of Jesus' conversation with his disciples about who he was. Because just as the blind man couldn't see completely clearly the first time Jesus healed him, the people that had maybe just heard about Jesus, they had just, briefly met him perhaps, they had just heard someone say something about him or heard snippets of his sermons, they couldn't see clearly. They couldn't see completely clearly who Jesus was. They didn't understand completely clearly who this man was. It was only that after the second time that Jesus had laid his hands on the man's eyes that he could see completely clearly. In the same way, Peter and the disciples could see clearly who Jesus was. Now, the disciples didn't always see clearly. We know that. Just a few verses before, Jesus had just fed 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread. And then he's in a boat afterwards, he's in a boat with his disciples, and they suddenly realized that they had just brought 1 loaf of bread for, the next few days. And then they realized, oh no, we should have brought more bread. What are we going to do? And they were so frustrated and anxious. We don't have enough bread. And then Jesus enters the conversation and he says, well, why are you talking about not having enough bread? What's this conversation all about? Jesus is saying, are you still not seeing? Are you still not understanding? Are your hearts hardened? Jesus says. And then he says, do you have eyes, yet you don't still see? Do you have ears, and still you don't hear? Don't you remember, I was just with you. I was feeding 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread. And you're anxious now about not having enough bread, and I'm with you? Of course Jesus could make sure that they had enough bread. Of course. But he wants them to see clearly. He wants them to understand who he is. Of course Jesus could have healed the man instantly. Of course he could have. But he wanted to show his disciples the importance and the necessity of seeing clearly. And so he showed it to them by first making the eyesight of the man blurry, and then, to show them the contrast, making him see completely clearly. There is an artist called Neville Peter who is blind, completely blind. He can't see, but he can sing and he can play the piano. And he wrote this song, and I want us to see the next slide. I'm going to read you the lyrics of this song. I remember when I was just a little boy, and with all the simple things I could find so much joy. But somehow church always seemed too long. They always sang the same old songs. I knew about Jesus and his love, even why he came to die. But, next slide, this time is personal. I feel his love inside of me. This time is personal. I used to be blind, but now I see. He's more than someone I just talk about. He's the only friend I can't live without. Oh, how I love you, Lord. This time, it's personal. Is it better now or now? Jesus asked the man. Now, the man answered, when he could finally see clearly. And what about you? Jesus asked his disciples. Do you see better than the others? Do you understand better who I am? Is it more clear to you? Yes, Peter said, you are the Messiah. And what about you? Jesus asks you. With what eyes do you see? Are you one who's following me, who walks with me and talks with me, spends time with me every day? Are you one who has a personal relationship with me? Is it personal to you? Do you feel my love inside of you? And maybe you haven't heard a lot about me. Maybe you've just heard a few snippets. Maybe you don't know me well. Maybe you don't really understand who I am. Would you like to follow me? Jesus asks you. Would you like to be my disciple? Would you like to have a personal relationship with me so that I can heal your eyesight and help you to see clearly so that you can know who I am? Be my disciple. Jesus invites you. That's his invitation to you. He wants you to get to know him so that you can understand more clearly, so that you can know him and love him. And my hope and my prayer is that we all wish for Jesus to help us see by being his disciples, being his followers, and following in his footsteps. Amen.